God is a matter of definition. To be God, to be the penultimate, to have the capital G of God, must by definition include everything. 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 Nothing can be left out. And in the same way, to be God of capital G of everything, the God, would also mean there can be no preference, no agenda, no determination this versus that of anything. Whether an elephant or a gazelle or a bear or a fish in the depths of the ocean or a bird soaring in the sky. Whether it's a human, dinosaur, brontosaurus, down through the millennia of time of millions and millions into billions of years. If you're trying to say a definition for God, capital G, the God, it is the God, then it has to be everything, nothing left out, and no agenda. As soon as you say an agenda and try and say possession, our God, we're the chosen people, ours is the one way to God. All those type of terminologies, then you're talking small g, the little thing, maybe a puny God, small g. Those just made up with your little derivations and your iterations, your little cultural moralities and your little cultural prejudices. And there comes all the stupidity and warfare and ignorance and bigotry, repression of women, denying rights to gays, the whole thing of the stupidity that is the perversion and the obvious incorrect ability to say God by definition. The only way to say it is God, the ultimate, the big G, the capital G, God. It has to be everything. It has to be timeless. Timeless. And it can't be tied to humans either. So that idea, you're made in the image of, God. Humans are made in the image, that idea. That's foolishness too, obviously. And even an entity of dimension or gender, form, it has to be everything, anything, to be the ultimate, the capital G, by definition of God. So, of course, that means that all these dark age, stupid religions that are linking around here are built, as you can see, on segregation and separation by their very language, by their very situation, by their very clothes, by the very attitudes and the little references and literatures that they have. They always are pushing their group. 21st century, people understand, is it has to be everything, all the time. So in there it has to be, of course, equal rights. It has to be attention to the planet, because the planet, pretty obviously, is your key to sustaining your life, your kid's life, their kid's life, on and on and on. So anything and any attitude in any economic system that is damaging your planet, and poisoning and toxic and dumping trash in the oceans of whatnot, the plastics piling up around the world, a great perversion, a great stupidity, a great crime. But see, God isn't making a decision there. That's the only way it can be, by definition, the big G God. All of it. No matter what you do. No matter that if humans just continue on as other species have done down through the history of species and disappear because of their humans' own stupidity, which we're seeing is a pretty good momentum that humans can't let go of their economic-based system of poison and pollution based on measuring everything by the ridiculous thing of profit. And humans can continue to demand adherence to racism and bigotry, repression of women, deny rights to gays, say this versus that, our way, we the chosen people, then all the language of prejudice and stupidity. Well, folks, you take a big sigh. You already know you got the big ocean of trash now. The plastic residue is showing up throughout all the oceans of the world. The coral reefs are dying from the heating up of the water, and everything about that happening is tied to the stupidity of humans from the Industrial Revolution. And they just said, burn it, use it, destroy it. Didn't think anything. Which shows you the only species to come down the pike of all the history that intentionally poisoned themselves. That's the human legacy so far. And on top of that, you got these same stupidity trying to tell you about religion and saying that somehow their definition of God is specific. It has an agenda. It excludes others. It only lets in those who adhere to their little paradigm of decision and ideas and cultural bias and prejudice. Well, you put those two together, an economics poison and pollution system of stupidity, and a religion's of poison and pollution stupidity, you got pretty clearly laid out of disaster. Self-created, self-perpetuated. And here is one of the keys, at least on the religious side, because God, by a definition, as being the penultimate, the everything, God. It had capital G, God. Air, empty space, open, vast, with no agenda. It has to be timeless, of course. So it can't be just something that suddenly appeared because humans are around. It'd have to be eternal. And the only thing in that kind of range, as we're seeing through our astronomy and findings, and now finding in particular like the number of galaxies that so far we've come across, where each galaxy has billions of stars like our sun, and even billions and billions and billions more planets because of that. Those numbers have, by observation and bringing the Hubble telescope, and there's trillions upon trillions of other galaxies. And each one having billions upon billions upon billions of stars like our sun. And even more planets. That's the scale. And that's the scale of God, capital G God, the ultimate, the penultimate, the God. It can only be that it is on that huge of a scale. All the fabrications dissolve of human bigotry, prejudice. And all you can recognize yourself would be timeless. You could say a fourth time. Not the past, not the present, not the future, a timeless fourth time. And what can be the attributes that can in any way manage some kind of definition then of capital G, God. God, the ultimate God, the God.